Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. This is Kemi, and I'm here to talk about Beyond the Gates Season 2, Episode 82. Now, before we begin, make sure you guys are liking, subscribing, and turning on your post notifications so you'll know whenever I post. All right, so we start this episode off with Tomas. He comes into Bill's office and he's giving him an update on one of the cases that Bill has passed off onto him and how he's happy that Bill has let him take the lead on the case. Tomas tells him what he's done so far, and Bill is just like, there you go again, passing your work off onto somebody else. And Tomas apologizes again for involving Kat into what's going on. And Bill asks him if he's done, playing games with Kat, and Kat walks in as he says this and says, "Well, why don't you ask me yourself?" So Kat tells them what happened with between her and Leah, and Bill is pissed that she has all this info or whatever. So Bill says that she has too much time on her hands and he needs to call Chelsea to give her more work to do. And Kat was just like, "Excuse me, like, sir, who you think you're talking to?" so uh and that he has Tomas looking into Lynette, and the investigation is none of her business. So she tells him that Chelsea is not her boss and they are partners, hence the name Chelsea Cat. And she and Tomas are partners, and what concerns him concerns her. And Bill says, the hell it does, and not when it comes to this firm. Tomas steps in, and Tomas steps in, and Bill says he can't be worried every time that he gives Tomas something to do that he's going to involve his girlfriend. Tomas says it won't happen again. Bill says it shouldn't have happened in the first place. He tells Kat that he loves her, but this isn't her place, and she tells him she's giving him solid intel, and she plans to talk to Leah again. He tells her this isn't an episode of Only Murders in the Damn Building, and this is a reputable firm with policies to abide by. And when it comes to investigating Lynette or anything else that has to do with his firm, um, her sleuthing days are over. Kat tries to plead her case, but Tomas stops her, and Bill isn't having any of it. She he let me see. Let's see. Yeah, Kat. He's not listening to her. He tells Kat that he's only doing this because he's trying to keep her safe, and he hopes that she she's okay or whatever. Um, so he asked her, does she understand? So she was just like, okay. So when he leaves, she tells Tomas that she doesn't agree, and Tomas it can't tells her that it can be dangerous, and she says, I ain't scared of her. Just like, cat girl, stop. He tells her she needs to stop for real, or his time as a junior partner will be the shortest in history. And it's just like, there we go again. Tomas is only thinking about himself because he's not worried about Kat getting hurt. He's more worried about Bill firing him, but whatever. I wish she would let him go, but that ain't gonna happen. So anyway, let's see. So we then see Vanessa. She runs into Hayley at the at Uptown, and she is telling her, she's buttering her up and saying, "Oh, I'm glad that I ran into you, X, Y, and Z." And Hayley is just like, "Girl, what do you want? Because me and you are not friends. We've never been friends. And it's because you are so loyal to Danny." And and Vanessa's just like, "And I still am." So she brings up the whole the penthouse, and that how she wanted to know if she was still interested in getting the place, because she knew that she was going to get the place for Lynette. And she was just like, "Well, how did you find that out?" And she was just like, "Well, I was under the assumption, blah, blah, blah. I was under the assumption that that was what was going on. And Hayley plays it off and she says, right now we just bought a vacation house in St. Bart, so we're not looking to expand our portfolio at this time. Um, and she only felt like, to do this for Lynette because she felt indebted to her or whatever. She thought she was a genuine person who needed a leg up and she wanted to help her, but she was taken advantage of or whatever. Vanessa says, well, let me know if you change your mind, and she leaves. um, let's see. Oh, child, I done got my notes messed up. I'm sorry, y'all. so, so Vanessa leaves, and we see Joey. He is at he is at the casino, and he's looking at a piece of paper. Randy comes in and he asks what that is. Joey gives him an excuse and then asks him about his special assignment. Him following Smitty or whatever. So Randy tells him, he got his best guy on it, and Joey is just like, no, I want you to do it. Um, so um, so Randy leaves, and we see Joey make a call, and when we see him make a call, the next scene is we see um, Leah picking up the phone and answering, and then she just sits there and listens. So we see Joey, he reads the note, and it's from his sister, and she's basically telling him that she had to go and for him to let her go and not to come look for her. And if she needs him, she'll reach out to him. So Vanessa gets there. She's been calling his name, but he wasn't answering. So she wants to know what was wrong and what was wrong. He plays it off, and he wants to, Vanessa wants to know what that paper was that he put away. He tells her it was a letter from his sister. She wants to know what he says. He never, she wants to know what it says. He, uh, let's see. Sorry. So she wants to know what it says. Um, he says, she says he never talks about her. Joey says it's for a reason. He tries to change the subject, but Vanessa wants to talk about Heather. He tells her about Heather, and the letter is the only thing that he has of her. She didn't want to be found, and he honored that. Vanessa wonders if he thinks it was a good idea, and he wonders the same thing. Vanessa is shocked that he hasn't reached out, that Heather hasn't reached out to him yet, and he says that he misses her and he understands. He chooses to remember her on this day. And Vanessa says, "Oh, maybe we can put some feelers out and see how she is." And she wants him to tell her about Heather, but Joey is just like, "Yeah, no, I'm not trying to talk about her." So she's just like, "Okay, fine, let's go get a drink and we'll talk about her when you're ready to talk about her." So we see, and clearly everybody was on the phone in this episode. So we see Smitty. He gets a call from Jacob. They go over their notes with each other. Jacob says to meet him at the hotel and make sure he doesn't have any security details. He does make sure no one is following his security detail isn't following him. So he gets to the hotel and Randy is following behind him. He comes in. Um, I mean not Joey, but Randy gets a text from Hayley telling him to meet him at Uptown, and she asks him what he's doing, and he says he's busy. She tells him, meet me at Uptown, it's important. Like, drop whatever you're doing, come meet me at Uptown, it's important. So we see Jacob and Smitty. They talk about Grayson almost giving up his contact, but then something happened and he just took off. He's worried now. Smitty tells him something is happening. There's been an uptick in activity, and they think that the Impaler is up to something. So they guess because Malone is looking into the hack at Nicole's computer that maybe they're getting spooked, and they're either trying to move, they're about to move, or they're trying to offload whatever supplies they have. So Smitty asks him, have you heard from Ren? And he tells him, no, I haven't heard from Ren. And as soon as he says that, Ren texts him, and tells him that he has a job for him. Jacob is worried because he thinks it's a trap. He doesn't feel right about this. He thinks it's a setup for him going off script. Smitty says, "But didn't y'all take care of this already by him beating you up? And what did your dad say when you told him about him beating you up?" And he was just like, "I ain't tell my dad because he would have pulled me off the case." Um, he gets a call from uh sorry, so he would have been pulled off the case. Then we see, let's see, we see, no, we see, sorry, because we saw Leah. She was on the phone, because again, she, like, when Joey had made that call, Leah's phone rang and she's at the hospital. She picks it up. The other person's on the line, and she's telling them that eyes are on all of them, and she says, she'll take care of it. Grayson is at the hospital. He grabs her and tells her he isn't playing games with her, and was sending the pick a threat. And she was just like, "Well, was the message received?" He says, "Leave Ashley alone or he'll blow the whole operation sky high. And if she thinks he's bluffing, try him." Leah tells him he knows the photo was upsetting, but it had to be done. He wants to know if she took the photo herself, or if she's having Ashley followed. She tells him she warned him about what would happen, and if he thinks it was a simple he and for him to not think it was a simple threat, but a guarantee. He says he thought she was different, but she is a monster. She says, "You think I'm a monster? You have no idea the depths our employer will go to keep the business afloat." He says, "And if I want out?" And she tells him there's no way out, and walks away. So we see, Nicole. She is in her office and someone knocks on the door. She tells him to come in, and it's Leah. It's not who she was expecting. Leah gives her an update on the hack, and she wants to know if Nicole has thought of anybody who visited her that day, or who could have possibly done the hack. And Naomi had not Naomi, but Nicole has a flashback to her conversation with Smitty. And Leah, then she tells Leah she can't think of anything. She had no appointments and no one stopped by. Leah says if she remembers anything to let her know. Nicole zones out, and then Carlton walks in. He's calling her name, so she comes back to, and she tells him she's almost ready. Leah leaves. Carlton says not many people are friends with their boss. She says something. She says that she's that some she says things have been tense since the hack, and he asked her if there have been any updates. She says no, but she can tell that Leah's stressing out about it. Nicole wants to know why. Wants to know where they're going, and he says they're going to go karting. She's happy because, and she talks about the last time that she went go karting, and which was when Vernon had. She was missing. No, Anita was missing her girls because Naomi, not Naomi, Nicole. Oh, these N names. But Nicole was in school, and Danny was in Tokyo. So Vernon flew them to Tokyo to have a little family get to reunion or whatever. And he says, he tells her he knows about it, and he was just like, "Yeah, I remember everything you told me." And she was just like, "Yeah, I can tell." They leave, then we see them again at Uptowns, and they're talking about how much fun they had at go-karting. They eat dinner, and she tells the story of Anita hot wiring her father's car, her father's Mustang, and Carlton is impressed with her, and he learns something new about her every day. She's happy that they did this because it got her mind off of the anniversary that wasn't. She tells him that she did speak with Ted earlier that day, and they're in a good place. And she tells him that he also told her about when he cock blocked her and back in the day, and then he was just like, "Yeah, I knew also," because he figured it out um, when he saw them chit chatting out there or whatever. So they're, having a good time talking and laughing or whatever. And we see, let's see, we see, what's her name? What's this girl's name? Tomas and Kat. Sorry, Tomas and Kat. They come into the club, and not the club, but to Uptown. And Kat is complaining about Bill. And then as soon as she sees Carlton and Nicole, she forgot what she says. Um, she they approach them, and she's happy that Nicole is happy. They ask if they want to join them, and they say no, they were just coming for a drink, and then they were going to go. So her and Tomas go to walk off, but Kat goes back, and she says she's happy that her mom is happy. It makes her heart smile, and she's glad, she's happy for her or whatever. So they hug. It was a cute little moment. So we see, let's see, we see, because we were all over the place in this episode. It was a good episode, but we were all over the place. We see, what's her name? What's this lady's name? Hayley. We see Hayley. She is in a booth, and Randy comes over, and she wants to, let's see, let me get my notes. Sorry, y'all. Let's see. Okay, yeah. So, um, he's at Uptown. He tells her when he gets to Uptown, he tells her that he was doing something and it was important. She wants to celebrate, because people are believing that Lynette skipped town and things are going according to plan. She tells him about her talk with Vanessa. He says, "Yeah, because I was the one who sent those text messages, so I he's believing it because of me or whatever." And she's like, everything's going according to plan. She tells him Bill bought the story about her moving the money, and they're getting close to the end. Randy says soon they'll be living, the lavish life off of Bill's insurance money. And she says, and the college fund, and his maxed out credit cards, and all the cash that she can discreetly withdraw. So they toast, and as they're toasting, she gives him a look. So then we see her. She is. We actually see Bill. He is at the office, and he is going off on Keegan because he's just like, why am I paying you? Why am I paying you as my PI when my niece is getting all the intel? Um, so he was just like, you need to find out everything about Lynette and fast. And he hangs up on him. Haley comes in, she's drunk, and she has a bottle in her hand. Bill looks at her crazy. Bill doesn't believe she drank that bottle by herself and wants to know who she was with. And she says it's called pacing. He says she's been drinking a lot more than usual. She gets upset and she's stumbling. He says, if you going through something, let me, I want to help you. And she says, oh, since that's what you used to do in your marriage, you think that, you spotted a similar behavior. And he was just like, please, I know you're not having an affair, but I think that you're overcompensating for something, and it's because of Lynette. And she gets mad, and she's just like, they've been freed of that woman. She can finally see the truth because of him. And in fact, she's going to pour him a drink so that he can get to where she's at. So she goes to pour him a drink. He gets a text from Keegan saying he's about to look into Lynette, and Haley looks back at him and gives him a look, and she don't look that drunk at that point. So we see, um Grayson. Well, actually, we see Ashley and Naomi. They're at Ashley's place, and Ashley is psyching herself out from getting the info. She thinks she's a commodinator, and she's picking guys that like to lie to her. Naomi tries to give her the benefit of the doubt, but Haley isn't having it. Naomi gets pissed at Grayson for involving her in something, and that is dangerous. Ashley says she really cares about him and she has to do something. She brings up Smitty again, but Naomi doesn't believe, doesn't see how he's involved in this. Naomi says Ashley was by her side since Jacob has been gone, and she wants to return the favor. Ashley can't believe she's this is where she's at. And if they find out about the meds, her career is over. Naomi can't believe that Smitty could be involved in this. She starts to call him, but there's a knock at the door. It's Grayson. He comes in with a go bag. He tells her, "We got to go. We got to pack what you can for a couple of days, and we'll get more stuff on the way out. We'll get more stuff later on." Naomi interjects and Ashley hands him back the bag. She says she isn't going anywhere with him. She wants to know what's going on. He shows her the pic and tells her that someone is watching her. She wants to know who they are and why they're threatening him. He says he will explain it later, but she needs to get there safely. Naomi is just like, she ain't going nowhere with you. And she mentions the stabbing. He can't believe that Ashley told him. Ashley says she had to. Naomi says, you should be glad she told me and she didn't tell the cops. And that's when he mentions, "Oh, you want to talk about cops? Your husband is a dirty cop and he's in as deep as I am." And Naomi says she doesn't believe him, and the way that they're looking at him, he clocks that, "Oh, y'all knew about this, um so Jacob must be undercover." So he's like, "Oh, y'all not surprised by this?" Ashley says she isn't trying to hear anything Grayson is saying. She breaks up with him, and he tells her, "Be careful," and he leaves. So Ashley's getting ready for work, and Naomi is telling her, "You can't go nowhere because you can't go." But she isn't having it. She'll work her shift and then come back home, and Naomi says she'll be there waiting for him. So we saw sorry we saw Smitty get to the hotel with Jacob. And did I talk about this? I feel like I talked about this. Did I talk about this? It's all running together to me. Did I talk about this? I could have sworn I did. But anyway, so if I did, let me just do it again. So Smitty comes over, they give their notes. He hasn't heard from Rand. Okay, yes, I did. I remember. I did talk about this. Sorry. So he gets a call from Naomi. That's where I was at. Cause I stopped that. I skipped that part since I hadn't talked about that yet. So he gets a call from Naomi and she tells him about the pic. And she asks, "Is he investigating Grayson?" She tells him what happened and that Grayson said he's in just as deep. He tells her he's handling it. She tells him she was with Ashley when the picture was taken. He thinks now that they are watching her. He thinks that they may be watching her too. He tells her he will call Elon to make sure they're protected. Smitty thinks his cover might be blown, but Jacob doesn't care about that. All he cares about is about Naomi. Smitty wants to go ahead and post a story so they can just be done with it, but Jacob says no. If we do it now, we don't have all the pieces. The big guys are gonna go undercover. And he wants to get the big fish. Jacob makes a case for why they shouldn't run the story, and then we see Grayson show up and tells him he knows he's undercover. And that was it. I think that was so that was the episode. Let me look at my notes. We talked about Joey, talked about Randy, Leah, Nicole, Ashley, Bill. Yes. Okay. So that was it. This was a good little episode. The Impaler story is ramping up. So, whoop, 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 finally, we getting somewhere. As I'm recording this, though, we are at the cotillion. The episode that aired today was the cotillion. So like they're at the cotillion because yesterday's episode was a pre prep for a cotillion. So today's was a cotillion episode. Really good. I can't wait till I do my review on it because oh my goodness, these last 2 days have been chef's kiss. But this was a good episode. Again, we're firing all cylinders. This was a 3-episode week, so this was when we had the preemptions. This was the second week of the preemption, so I'm almost caught up, you guys. I'm getting there. Thank you for being patient with me, y'all. Make sure you guys are liking, subscribing, and turning on your post notifications so you'll know whenever I post. Get down in the comments. Tell me what you guys thought of this episode, and I will see you guys in the next one.